Good guy, that Mike Garafolo. Just before he heads off to Santa Clara, California to cover the Super Bowl for the NFL Network, Mike Garafolo was generous enough to give us a little bit of his time and talk a little bit about Roger Goodell's annual media conference at the Super Bowl. Said a lot of interesting things. One of the big revelations, Mike, another international game next year, Mexico City, that makes 9 international games. None in Canada so far. Why might that be, Mike?
Well, I did ask about that today because you and I have talked about it plenty, and I know that there have been games before, and I come on this network every week to talk about NFL football. And the NFL recognizes that there is a passionate NFL fan base up there in Canada. They would love to play games there. My understanding it's a stadium issue, that some of these stadiums are not, or most of them, or all of them in their mind, are not NFL ready. There's a lot of technological issues. It's why sometimes in recent years when teams have needed to play in college stadiums, there's been some issues. It needs to be wired for instant replay and all these things. And I understand that CFL games are played there. I don't know why this isn't something that's been further explored, and I'm just relaying what I've been told. But I did ask about that. And they are not closing the door completely. They would love to expand the international series into Canada. I think it would be great. I think I'd like to go up there to cover a game, Jay, and maybe you and I can hang out together. It's been an eternity since we've done that in person. I like these virtual meetings, but I like to hang with my boy. So we'll see about in the near future. Right now, up to 9 international games, on the way to 16. The NFL would like for every team to play one every single season. Could be part of an 18-game schedule. Now, that was also asked of Goodell at the press conference. He says, hey, that's no guarantee. I know people think, well, we went to 17. We're going to go to 18. There are some logistical things they need to work out. Would they have to put in a second bye week if they get to 18 games? What would the roster size be? These are the things they need to negotiate with the NFL Players Association. I think he sort of downplayed it today, but I truly believe that it is in the minds of NFL owners to expand to an 18th game, have that full international slate, be that extra game for teams. We're headed there eventually, just not in the near future.
We do know that there were 10 different head coaching vacancies this offseason, Mike. You were heavily involved covering all of the new head coaching hires, and now we're essentially down to one more job open, though it isn't really open. It's the worst-kept secret in the whole league that Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, will be the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. He's just a little busy right now, so he can't make that official right now. But I'm curious to get your thoughts, Mike, how the last few hirings went for the Raiders, for the Browns, and for the Arizona Cardinals. Did they play out in an unusual way, in your opinion?
It was unusual to me in that Arizona had Mike LaFleur in the building last week, let him out without finalizing that deal. They could have done the deal with him at that point. It wasn't like Clint Kubiak. But they were then waiting to talk to Kubiak, and I knew, and a lot of other folks knew, that he was likely ticketed for the Las Vegas Raiders. They wanted to take their final swing, and that's fine. But to me, you sort of have to understand that, lock in with LaFleur and send a message to your fan base. You know what? We're not even going to wait for the weekend. This is our guy. Because now that fan base is saying, well, why did we wait? Why didn't we just do this then? It made it clear that this wasn't our guy. Now, in the end, how much of that's going to matter, because it's up to how good of a head coach LaFleur is going to be. But I thought that was a little bit of a misstep there. Now, look, that's a tough job for whoever was going to take it, because you've got issues in a division where the other 3 teams, including one that's playing this weekend, are incredibly tough and incredibly well coached. You've got a quarterback issue with Kyler Murray. You can either bring him back as your quarterback or get out from under that, but that's going to have huge salary cap and financial implications. And I talked to somebody, I said, why would LaFleur take that job? And they said, well, he's been an offensive coordinator who's already been fired once with the Jets. There's no guarantee. Right now, you get a chance to take it, you take it. So that's what happened with LaFleur. I like the pairing of Kubiak with Tom Brady, John Spytek, the general manager there, and Fernando Mendoza, who is expected to be the #1 overall pick. Kubiak's done a fantastic job with this offense in Seattle, also in New Orleans previously as well. So I do like that pairing, and I did like that job amongst the ones that you're talking about that were the last couple. I said that Raiders job has got a lot to like, including you get the chance to live in Vegas as opposed to Cleveland. No offense to anyone who's from or lives in Cleveland at this point, but certainly from a location standpoint, Arizona and Vegas had that going on, whereas Cleveland, it gets a little cold there. But Todd Monken there as the new head coach, he's going to meet the media, his introductory press conference on Tuesday, Jay. He's going to be asked about Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator. I don't believe he's going to give a firm answer because there is none. I've talked to people in Cleveland today, and I said, I know Schwartz is telling people, hey, I'm out of here. And they're saying, well, you're under contract. We want you back. So that's still a standoff right there. And that is a huge part of what's going to happen for Todd Monken. To get Jim Schwartz to come back as his defensive coordinator, I think is an absolute must for him to have success in Cleveland. We'll see.
Mike, since you brought up the NFC West, we got to talk about the Seahawks. They're in the Super Bowl. They're taking on the Patriots. Not a single human on the planet predicted this matchup for Super Bowl 60. But here we are, Mike. So what do you see as a potential X factor for each team for them to be victorious on Sunday?
I'm going to go with two defensive guys for Seattle, one defensive guy for the Patriots. Robert Spillane, who's dealing with an ankle injury and hadn't practiced as of late last week. And he did say on opening night that he's moving in the right direction, and he is hopeful. He's a linebacker for the Patriots who signed a big deal with them this offseason, which was very funny to me and to him. We had him on the Insiders. We asked him about this. He was cut by the Tennessee Titans early in his career when Mike Vrabel was the head coach. Then he becomes a free agent. Vrabel's now in New England, and he signs a big deal with him. So that's been a really cool story this year, and he's been a big part of their defense. And he's the kind of guy that can affect the run game, can affect the pass game as well. This is a very balanced Seattle offense, so you need somebody who can do a little bit of both, which is why Robert Spillane, if he plays, so he and his ankle for me are the X factor for the Patriots. And for the Seahawks, it's the two guys up front. It's Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy. We're not talking enough about how dominant these defensive tackles have been this season. I gave Williams one of my Pro Bowl votes, and Murphy's the kind of guy that in the near future is going to get a big contract extension. He's going to make a lot of money, kind of like Leonard Williams has over the course of his career. Got to get some pressure up the middle there. Got to disrupt things up the middle. Into Drake May's face because May's made some mistakes this offseason. So get him feeling a little bit shaky early on. Get him making some mistakes along the way. That's what the Seattle Seahawks really have to do in this game, and it starts with those two guys right up front, right in the middle.
Before I let you go, Mike, and I know you'll be especially excited to hear about this if you haven't already, the Toronto Blue Jays announcing on Monday that outside of Skydome, they are going to be putting this summer a brand new statue commemorating the 30th anniversary or whatever anniversary of the 1993 Joe Carter game-winning home run against your Philadelphia Phillies. Mike, how excited are you to not only come hang out with me in person, but go look at that statue together?
You know, Philly fans have a reputation of throwing things at real human beings. And I say, don't do that. Don't throw things at real human beings. You might want to take the batteries out of my hand. No offense to Joe Carter. I'm still not over it. I mean, was it 33 years, I guess, 33. Is it now? Because we're in 2026?
Yeah.
That's a weird number.
Yeah.
You know, listen, enjoy it. I still, like, the way that was shot, I still never saw the ball off his bat, and I'm still shocked when I watched the replay reluctantly to see that ball going out of there. I was kind of hoping that one of these times he'll just hook it foul, you know? Never happens.
I mean, you guys have an incredible Mike Schmidt statue outside of the Philadelphia ballpark. I love that statue.
Yeah.
You could have a nice Mitch Williams one next to it, you know, just a beleaguered Mitch with his Jerry curls.
Well, I do remember the picture of Mitch in the locker room afterward drinking a beer with the media around him and his head down, his head in his hands, and a beer in the other one. Maybe that would be the statue.
We'll find. We'll workshop it, Mike. Safe travels to Santa Clara. Thanks for this, buddy. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
You got it, Jay. Thank you so much.